Cool. Alright, as usual, I'll get things set up while I wait for people to join. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Nope. Again, not what I wanted. Okay. Done. That's what I wanted. It's done. Alright. Alright, we should have chat up here, so I don't need this open. Hey, how's it going? Carrie Keach. I'm not sure how to pronounce your last name, sorry. How's it going? Vu Casson? Sorry, mispronouncing names already. Just close the stuff out. I didn't really think this through. I got cereal before I started live streaming. I'll wait for people to join because I don't know how much time the clocks are going to take today. But this is like crunchy food. So I might just wait for it to get like soggy and then eat it, as to not bother people's ears. So, how's everyone doing? Thank you for the compliments. Good stuff. I don't currently sell magnetic clocks. I give them away because if I was selling them, I would pretty much just be doing it to like the highest bidder because I don't make very many. This is the most I've ever had at one time. And I've gone several months without making any. Adviat, the Cuber, hello, how's it going? Just talking about magnetic clocks and why I don't sell them. And plus, if I don't sell them, it makes it so I can just give them to my friends, which is way more enjoyable than just selling them to any random person who has $40 to give me. So that's why I like giving them away. And plus, I still feel like the quality isn't good enough to like charge people for them. So yeah. Bays Ocean, hey, how's it going? They're pretty easy to make. That's what some people think. You could make it very easy to make a magnetic clock. But each one of these, from opening the clock to having it where I feel that it's good enough to give to someone, takes me about 3 hours. And that's because I want it to be as good as possible and have the least amount of problems when I give it to someone. If you make a clock very quickly and easily, that's totally fine. It's just way more likely to have problems than one of these that I spend hours making. Unfortunately, you cannot buy these because I'm giving them away to my friends. So that's kind of where we're at now. Eventually, I might sell some, but in my opinion, what's the hardest part of magnetizing a clock? Good question. I'd say, as of now, the hardest part is getting the ring magnets to stay on forever. Pretty much eventually they're going to fall off. I have two. One of them, they're both my mains. They're the ones up here. This one has had one magnet come off, and this one has had none. And they both have thousands of sols on them. Not like tens of thousands, but maybe a couple thousand each. So I'd say getting the ring, and I've done about 10 clocks the same way I've made these two that I glued the ring magnets on, and almost all of those other ones have had problems with lots of the magnets coming off. So I really don't know what the difference is that made these so much better than the rest of them, but yeah, I'd say that's the hardest part. But I'm ordering 17 Lingao clocks to sell it. I'm going to magnetize and sell it. Well, just do a good job, because a lot of I feel like a lot of times people that sell them and try and do a lot don't put in the time to make them good and solve all the problems. Mr. Brady Cubes, hi, how's it going? Glad to see you in here today. Just a clock M in general. No, I don't sell any magnetic clocks. I give every single magnetic clock I've made, I've given away, because I'm stupid. But and like some of the details I put into these, like anything, like the caps on the pins and then the faces on the corners, I glue all of that stuff on so so that it doesn't come off, because they're not supposed to come off, but these are so cheaply made that they do. And so just details like that is what I feel makes even more of a difference than people that are just trying to get through it quickly and make it as fast as possible. But I've got two that are pretty much ready to you try putting magnets inside the clock. I haven't found the right magnets to do that yet. Hi Shik, how's it going? If I did, I would. I have one case somewhere. Here, this one has a magnet that's like flush with the plastic, and then this hole is good for another one, and this one is a little too wide. This is like a broken case, so I was just experimenting with this, and so I think doing it like this would keep the magnets in better. And I think I have two more clocks I haven't started yet. Luke, how's it going? Yo. I think with one of these, or maybe in my next batch, I'm going to try and do one or two clocks with all of the magnets flush on the plastic, so they're like flat and not sticking up. It's just a lot more precise that you have to be, so it's not, it's interesting, and I'm a little worried about how it hitting metal right here might affect it, but that's basically next as far as inside, as far as I want to go inside for putting magnets on. How's it going, Voller Cess? Sorry if I mispronounced your name wrong. You have a 7 at the end of your name. I know how to pronounce 7. How's it going? It's going well here. This is going alright. How do you open a clock? I've tried several times over the years, but it's very tough. I have a very quick video on how to open up the like Chinese ones. I'll probably do it to that one in this stream later on. I've got one here. This one's been opened already. But what I do is I take a razor blade, get it like right in the crack of the seam, smack down a few times with the hammer until it breaks. You just want to be careful not to like hit it too hard, otherwise the whole case might break. I've never had that happen. This one's cracked though, but you can't feel it, so it's okay to use, I think, anyway. But yeah, so. Noah Dropcox, hi, how's it going? My new Lingao pins keep falling down. What should I do? The only like 100% effective way to fix that on the Lingao clocks is magnetize it, I think. You can try. There'll be two little metal pins in the pin, and you can take some pliers and kind of bend them towards the center of the stock, and that can make them a little more resistant to falling down. Freeze Linux Nova, hello, how's it going? Uh, Garrison Nathaniel, what is the method used to open a clock? Is that method to open a clock consistently working for you? Yeah, I've opened like 10 in the past few weeks with that method, and I haven't broken a single one. On the Rubik's brands, I just use these pliers and just pry them open from like the little corner areas. But these are so much more fragile. You got to use the blade and the chiseling technique. What am I eating? These are like Rice Krispies, but like they're not Rice Krispie brand. So. How about putting magnets in the black case? Yeah, I have the one off eBay that uses that technique. I just haven't found the magnets the right size at the right price to try that myself. And plus they still come off on the inside, and that's annoying to fix. So, yeah. The Rubik's Wood Cube is back in stock for their 40th anniversary. I know you're collecting, man, so I thought I'd tell you. Yeah, it's been on there for like a long time, I think. Like, at least a year. But I've got the 30th one, which is like more rare, so I don't really care to get any more wooden cubes. I've got one, and that's enough for me. I'm really getting out of collecting. So my old Lingao was taken apart a few years ago, and the black part broke. Should I use the pins from there? Yeah, give it a shot. Anything's worth a shot to try and get them to stop falling. I've never heard about that food. Is it breakfast or not? It is breakfast. It's just like puffed rice. You probably won't be able to see, but it's just like dried puffed rice. Can you put magnets in the wheel? I'd say yeah. I don't see a reason why not. It would be very difficult though. Can you use scissors to open one? Technically, yes. You could get your clock and put scissors in there. I find that breaks a lot of scissors. I've broken 1 or 2 pair of scissors doing that. So I wouldn't personally do that unless you got really strong scissors, but it's worth a shot, I guess. The thing about putting magnets on the wheels, that would be hard to do unless it was like manufactured to do it that way. It'd be a lot of work to do it custom. It's currently 11:15 a.m. where I am, so this is kind of like lunch. So, yeah. I put the camera in kind of a not great spot. I'm gonna try that because if I bring a steak knife in my room, I won't trust myself. Yeah, little blades work the best anyway. It's 8:15 over there. Nice, nice. I just recently got a Windows phone, and it's not that bad for my uses, at least. Yeah, I haven't heard bad things about a Windows phone. I knew one person who used one a while back, but I still use a flip phone. Do you have 2x2 and 4x4 clock? Nope, just a regular 3x3. The other ones are like kind of interesting, but not for the price. If they were cheaper, I'd get them, but I'm not sponsored by Baron Wong, so. So I'm just about done eating. I'm kind of wondering what you guys want to see first. I've got one that it's ready to have magnets glued on, and then I have 2 that are ready to be cleaned up and assembled. So if you have a vote for what you want to see first, I'll do it first. So many clocks. Yeah. Yeah, this is the most I've ever had at one time. Magnetic ones, at least. But it's... I've spent like the past 4 days just making clocks. And ones that are ready to be assembled, gotcha, we'll do that. Do you think Moy and Chi should mass produce clock M's? Yeah, I think they should. I don't know if they will. They are. I imagine they'd be. It can't be that much harder to. I really don't know the level that it would take to produce. It depends on how they do it, to how it, what like the producing expenses would be. But like at Chi, they don't have. I don't know much about how Moyu designs puzzles, but at Chi they don't have very many people designing WCA puzzles. I don't know if they want like the exact number shared, but it's not very many. Hey Amir, how's it going? How long do you open Rubik's brand new clock? If you're asking how long does it take, just a couple minutes usually. Kristen Wiley had one that took me like all of a lunch break to open, and then I was like eating pizza as fast as I could to get done in time to compete. If you're asking how often do I open them, almost never now, because I don't know. There's been a couple recently that I thought about buying, but just kind of forgot. What do you think? What do you think of removing feet? I don't know. I can't be opposed to it too much because they're giving valid reasons. I feel they're not as solid as they could be, but I'm fine with it. Who are these going to? I could open up the list and check who's at the top, but I'll bring a few to the competition next weekend. And speaking of the competition next weekend, Carrie asks, are you excited for Hendersonville? Very much, very much. First competition of the year. Up until yesterday, I was thinking about going to one in Kentucky today. It's only like an 8-hour drive. But there's a lot of snow, so I didn't really want to take the chance and go to Kentucky for just FMC. There's other events, but they were like feet and pyraminx, so I don't really care. But Hendersonville, I'm very excited for. I've always wanted to go to a Dalton Paget competition, but I've never had the chance to. So when he was organizing, he was telling me like the weekends he was planning on having it, and I was making sure my schedule was clear. I was going to ditch whatever competition was on a certain weekend that he was thinking about having it, but yeah, very excited, very excited. I mean, the case? Yeah, it takes me just a couple minutes to open the case, usually, unless they're, like, really hard. Do you think Rubik should make them again? I don't think it makes sense for Rubik's to make them again. Yeah, I just, it's been too long to, like, have the exact same production method easily accessible. So they would have to, like, recreate or redesign everything, and, the market's just not there for them. Yeah. The clock strike sheet is insane. I haven't even looked at it, but I know it's, like, at least 4 people sub 7. I think 4. So, decent. Do you have any suggestions on how to slow down a clock that is too fast and uncontrollable? Tends to overshoot easily. That's the thing about clock is like, there's a couple ways you could do that. Overshooting is usually a user error. But overshooting on a hardware error is usually because the clicks are way too soft, and some clocks you aren't going to be able to fix that. You can fix that by either extending the springs a little bit, so stretching them out a little bit, or just tightening the screws on the black case, which is what I would suggest doing first. And if you feel that it's actually too fast, again, tightening the screws on the black case could help, and then adding heavy lube like Traxxas 50K. Could help slow it down. Greetings from Germany. Excuse me, sorry. Enjoy seeing you back on the grind. Yeah, I've kind of forced myself to practice clock this week, because whenever I make a magnetic clock for someone, I break it in to make it better, because when I first just assemble it, it needs to be broken in. And even when I give it to people, it needs more breaking in. I think it takes probably at least 500 solves to hit the sweet spot of the clock. And I do a little over 100 usually on the ones that I make for people. So okay. Oh, I'm gonna pour a bowl of cereal and then get started on cleaning and assembling while I wait for this to get less crunchy. Because I don't want to be crunching right around ears. Thanks for your explanations. No worries, no worries. That's what I'm here for. I like explaining stuff, answering questions. I really like these live streams, because it's like a couple hour long Q&A, and we usually find something funny to talk about. So ones that are ready to be assembled. Put the camera in kind of a weird spot. There's one. One of my pins literally feels like there's no resistance when I turn the clock. It always falls down. Yeah. I said you gotta just... The one thing you can do to fix it is add lube to the little metal rods on the sides of the pins, or use pliers to squeeze those in and bend them so there's more friction or whatever. You're only doing it for people in the USA? No. There are a couple overseas people I'm making them for. I think one from this batch might go overseas. I really prefer to just do USA, because I can just bring them to competitions and give them to people. And then shipping is like maybe $3 or $4, whereas if I ship one overseas, the minimum it's going to cost me to ship one is like $14, which is all coming out of pocket, so kind of sucks, but... Didn't know you were going to Hendersonville. I have to sign up now. Yeah, that's the plan. Unless there's like a giant ice storm and I crash on the way there, I'm going to be there. So it's going to be a good competition. Do you think I can try one of your magnetic clocks at Hendersonville? Yeah, I'll bring probably most of these there. I don't know if I'll be giving them all away there. I hope not, because there's a few people up here that I want to give them to this time around. But I like bringing a bunch of extra clocks, because people are always asking me to borrow clocks, and I usually just have my two mains at competitions. And so then I let people borrow my mains, and I kind of don't like doing that. I live like 3 hours from Hendersonville. Yeah, I live 13 hours away. So driving 13 hours next Friday. Gonna be good. Look at all the clocks. Yep, a lot of clocks. What is there on the table? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. A couple more to be finished. Nice cornflakes. These are Rice Krispies, man. Except they're not. What are they actually called? Whole grain golden rice crisps cereal. 2 grams of sugar per serving. Nice. Do you have any tips for staying motivated? I don't have much motivation. That's a good question. Staying motivated is really hard because you got to have a reason to cube. Like, if you're not motivated, you got to look at why you're not motivated, and then why you want to keep cubing, and kind of focus on that. There was a time in like 2012. I don't remember if it was. I think it was 2012 where I kind of lost some of the motivation for like speed cubing, and so I wasn't. I don't know how to explain it. I have to think about it more to answer it well about like what I did to get back more motivated. But like I don't know. It's a hard one. Hope you have safe travels. Yeah, it should be fine. I just have to leave at like 2 a.m. which I'm not used to leaving at 2 a.m. I usually leave at like 3:30 or 4. But I guess I could leave at like 3:30 since I'm coming down Friday, but I'd rather get there earlier, leave extra time for stops and stuff. I know that feeling when you lend a lot of clocks to people. Yeah. At Nationals, I think I brought like, I think I only brought 5 to give away at Nationals. And I gave 1 away before the staff competition, and then I lent a couple out at the staff competition, and then I lent out a bunch during the normal competition. So many clocks, but do you know the time? It's time for a bingo. I can only go to 1 comp a year. Yeah, that would make it really hard for me to stay motivated if I could only go to 1 competition a year. Yeah, I don't even know how I'd stay motivated to practice cubing, aside from like just when the competition is coming up. Do you want to be a reptile breeder? I already am a reptile breeder. If you're asking like if I want to be a well-known one, not necessarily. I feel like there's a lot of responsibility with being a well-known reptile breeder, and it takes a long time, and I don't know if I'll be able to stay into reptiles long enough. I'd like to be into reptiles forever and have reptiles forever, but I want to move around, at least in this country, and try and live in at least one other country. And that's just not easy to do when you're a well-known reptile breeder. So. Just become active in the community. If you need to meet people online, it can allow you to build friendships even without going to comps. Yeah, that's a good point. Making friends online. Try and get in like Discord servers, or find people that'll hang out and want to chat, like voice chat online. That's a lot more fun than just chatting online. Hang out on Twist the Web maybe. Pizza or pizza? That's a good question. The Redneck Cuber, how's it going? Very glad you're here. Getting hyped. Hello. Hi, how's it going? Pizza or pizza? I'd go with or pizza. Yeah. Do you sell magnetic clocks, or do you just own that many for fun? No, I give them away. I don't make very wise decisions with money all the time. A lot of the time I do, but sometimes I do this thing where I pay for all this stuff, and then I spend like 2.5 to 3 hours on each one, and then I give it away. So yeah. I haven't cubed in a while. Tips for me to start again. Whatever like events you have puzzles for, my recommendation would be to just do some solves on all of them and see what's interesting to you at this time. Try and learn something new that that's always a fun thing to do and gets you more motivated usually. Do you have a Discord server? I don't. I have a Discord. My number is 1025. You can add me, but I usually don't. I usually go on there like to talk to people at a specific time, so I usually don't just hang out on Discord. Alright, let's get to finishing this. So, this clock is one I was kind of experimenting with. Cuban comps are preparing us for bird pox. Pretty much. Pretty much. I'm trying to think if I've ever been in a venue without, like, any windows. Yeah. Yeah, there's been some hotel rooms without windows that I was in. Simon Kelvin, how's it going? Glad you're here. So this one I was kind of experimenting with. I tried something different with attaching the magnets, but I don't remember what it was. And then I left it like completely unlubricated on the inside. Because I've never magnetized one and then tried it while it wasn't lubricated. So I'll probably lubricate this after I assemble it and try to it. Are you still planning on getting here Friday? Yep. Leaving Friday at like leaving here Friday at like 2, 3 a.m. and then I don't know what time I'll get there, but yeah, very excited, very excited. What's your favorite reptile? Just kind of in general, snakes. If I had to pick a specific one, I really like the white-lipped pythons, but I don't know if they're my favorite. So the reason I have this bin on my lap is because there's going to be like plastic shavings coming off, and I don't want them getting all over my room. But so this case has been glued and then sitting for about a day. So it should be dry enough, and I haven't stress tested it yet. So I take a screwdriver, I put it in, and kind of not too much force, but make sure it's not gonna come off really easily. And this one seems to be holding up all right so far. What do you do for 13 hours in a car, though? Watch the road, watch the other drivers, put your foot on the gas pedal, don't go over the speed limit, things like that. So, I don't know if anyone's going with me. I think it might just be me. So, this case, half of the case, is fine. And this isn't the only stress test I do. I also, when they're finished, just throw it down on the table super hard a bunch of times. I feel like this one could use some more glue on that magnet because it cracked a little bit. I was testing it. Yeah, I don't feel comfortable gluing this. What's the best 3x3 as of right now? I like the regular Volk 3. That's my favorite. I think there's probably better if you want to go like make a point system and count points for overall performance. But for me, the Volk 3M, the original one, not the Power, works pretty well. So I'm going to let that dry for a bit. I just need a little bit more glue. I guess I can get started on the other one while I wait for that to dry. I feel like the GTS 3 might be better than the Volk 3, but it just doesn't fit my solving style as well. I use it for feet though. What do I average? It depends what event. For 13-hour car rides, I average roughly 12 hours, 59 minutes, just because I don't always watch my speed perfectly and sometimes go 1 or 2 miles over the speed limit. The GTS 2 is really good. That's one that I'd say if you were going to get one 3x3 for all of the events, the GTS2 is probably the best all-around 3x3 actually. I don't know why I didn't think of that. I've said that for a long time. Like if you're gonna get one cube for every event, the GTS2 works pretty well. Specifically the GTS2M. Like I still use it for one-handed. That's the only thing I use it for now. But there's been times where I used it for regular 3x3 and feet. I've never used it for blindfolded, but I think it would be decent for blindfolded. It's on sale right now. At I guess everything's technically on sale at Cube Depot. There's a coupon code. I averaged 12 hours on 13-hour car trips. Nice, nice. Where are you driving to? Hendersonville, North Carolina. Very excited. First competition of the year. We're gonna have a Wisconsin competition with Pyraminx that weekend, but thankfully, I kind of got due to like the Albany competition, that one wasn't gonna happen. So, I got to go to Hendersonville instead. So there'll be some more. I want to get Pyraminx soon because it doesn't get held very often here. I don't think it'll happen in February, but March I'll definitely get a competition with Pyraminx. Time to kill my card then. If you're talking about it at Cube Depot, that's a great place to kill your card because they're having a sale right now. There's a coupon code and everything is 15% off for the holidays. You should make a pizza-shaped cube. A clock is a pizza-shaped thing. You'd have to have a cubic pizza to make it a pizza-shaped cube. Because a cube is a shape. So I'd say clock is probably my favorite event because it's shaped like a pizza. Clock isn't my favorite event though. I don't know why I just said that. Can I buy a clock? Not from me. From other people you definitely could. I use it for OH and 2H. Just switch to GTS3 for feet. Yeah, I think the ridges are nice for feet. I stopped using the GTS2 for feet because the last 2 times I used it in competition, I got a corner twist. And then one of the times, I got a pop in the same solve. Correction, pizza slice cube. That's a Pyraminx. Pizza slice. Alright, this one, I just dropped it. This one is lube. So I gotta find my screwdriver and then test out all the magnets. Make sure there's no weak spots in the glue. It's way easier to fix it now than get it assembled and do like 2 solves and have it break off. I feel like this one could use some more glue. I like to use a lot of glue. It helps keep them on. They don't look as good. They definitely don't look good. But I feel that the magnets stay on somewhat well. Because I've had a couple people get clocks from me and they haven't had magnets fall off yet. Granted, they aren't doing a whole lot of solves outside of competition, but I'm still very happy that that they haven't come off yet. I got my first sub 40 on it. Nice, nice. Looks like you're going to be unnemesizing me. I switched because I wanted to use stickerless, but couldn't grip without ridges. Yeah, I remember you saying you wanted to get a stickerless GTS2 at Mountain Trip, I think. Because you wanted a stickerless cube. But, yeah, so this one's good, I think. I don't know. Hopefully you can get a sub 40 in comp. I'm not anywhere near capable of getting a sub 40 right now. My 58 average officially was kind of lucky because I didn't get any like last layer cases I didn't know how to do with feet. There's some of them I've just forgotten how to do with feet. Back in 2015 I learned all my algs for feet, and whatnot, and I've forgotten them since then. So sometimes I get to last layers, and I'm like, well, this is going to take me 30 seconds, and then it does. But yeah. Okay. I couldn't grip it, so I started using it for 2H and got GTS 3. Gotcha, that makes sense. There is a new problem. I'm going to make a video about this. I already recorded it, but I couldn't be bothered to edit it because I was editing a lasagna video yesterday. When I first started making this batch of clocks, I found a new problem that I hadn't experienced before. I knew it could happen, but I wasn't experiencing it frequently, and this was consistently happening all the time. And that was faces like skipping positions. So like it mostly happened with the top and bottom edges on both sides, and then every once in a while on the right and left on both sides. And it would be where you were either switching a pin or dropping it, and it would just, this one face would jump like 5 positions, and that's just crazy because that's not a normal move that it should be making. What was happening was the springs, they have these little, you definitely aren't going to be able to see it on this camera, but they have these little, the ends of the springs are like bent, and sometimes there's like a straight part that sticks out of it. And so what I believe was happening was that was getting caught on the flash, and so it was kind of on like both sides, and so it was twisting the spring and being caught on the flash, and then at some point it wants to spring back into position, so it flips that one face around a bunch of positions, and totally makes it not okay to use. So I've had to fix that in all of the clocks. Some of them I don't think it would have happened, but I just did it preventatively. Anyway, please explain the lasagna video. It's already uploaded, but I was just making it to send to Kieran Dyslon, so I spent like all day on this video and just sent it to one person. It would be very confusing to most people, but my first video 2019 was lasagna. So how are you? I'm alright. Oh, I'm alright. How are you, Colin Fitz? Glad to see you here today. Both the screws are here. So my kind of process for making these is I do most of the work, like I take it apart and do everything I'm gonna do, add all the magnets and glue and everything, and then lubricate it at that time, and then I set everything aside to dry for like half a day, or usually at least a full day. And then I usually, once I'm to this point where it's ready to be cleaned, I wipe off some of the lube because it just seems like there's too much. I could just put less on in the beginning, but I feel like it's easier to get an even spread if you put more on and then just take a little bit off later on. There's too much lube does not make for a pleasant experience in solving a clock. And I also lube the inside of all these faces. I usually take a little bit out of there because it's just a lot. I don't usually do it right now. I usually do all this cleaning after I've cleaned the case, which I'll show you how I do that in a minute. But you clean all the inside, make sure it's going to work nice and smooth. But these cases, so I use a lot of glue, and so that glue is going to cause problems if I don't clean off all of the excess glue that is going to get in the way of the pins. Got a low battery warning on my chat tablet, but I shouldn't because it's plugged in. Oh well. So I have this roll of sandpaper, and this end is like the same same size as the hole. I dropped 10 seconds after cleaning my overloop clock at Nats 2016. Nice, nice, yeah. That's definitely like a huge detriment, is like overlooping a clock. Most of the time, hardware doesn't. I don't know what I was gonna say, but overlooping is a big problem, which is why I always try, like, if there's a competition I cared about, like at nationals a couple times, I've like lubed my clock. Like I lubed it like a certain amount of time out, so I know I could do like enough solves to break in the lube and have it not be slow. So anyway, with this sandpaper, I use it to twist it both directions inside the holes, and that smooths out all of the little 6x. Oh my gosh! I just read what's your 6x6 main, and started to say that it rubs off the 6x6 parts of glue. There's no 6x6 parts of glue. There's just little bits that stick out that are going to cause problems with the pin moving up and down. So you just gotta, make sure that's all clean on each one of them. So I usually start with the up and down to get the big pieces out, and then back and forth. My 6x6 main is the Moyu Aoshi GTS-M. I think it's Aoshi, pretty sure. So this, once I had the idea to use like a roll of sandpaper, it made it so much easier to do this, because before I was trying to do it with like precision blades or flathead screwdrivers, and that is not easy. So Phase Ocean is back. Nice. So the Moyu Aoshi GTS-M, I feel, is a really good good price for what it is. It's like $42, which is kind of expensive, but considering we used to pay more than that for a VCube 6 and had to spend however many hours modding it to make it usable, and we can just buy a magnetic one now for $42 at CubeDepotUSA.com. Just push the pins up and down a bunch of times. Yeah, that can work too. This is just how I like to do it. It takes more time probably, but I don't know. So then I just glued my thumb to it. After that, there's usually a little bit of excess glue on top of the magnets because I use so much glue. And that doesn't need to be there. It's not holding anything on, and it's only going to make things rough for people's fingers when they're solving the clock and pushing the pins. You don't want that, so take some sandpaper and smooth that off on each of the each of the magnets that need it. Go both directions so it's all symmetrical and stuff. What species do you want to work with in the future? Good question. I'd like to have reticulated python at some point. Not necessarily breed them, because I feel that they're getting overbred at the moment, because they are such a large snake. I had to re-glue the pins in my VCube like every 30 solves. Yeah. Thankfully, I never had to do like 30 solves on a VCube. I didn't get into speed solving 6x6 until the Shengshao came out. I just wasn't interested because the VCube was bad, but I definitely had a couple modified VCubes back in the day. I've still got a couple of them. But yeah, crazy stuff. I would used to just accept that as normal. And then, because I use so much glue, there's a little bit sticking out on the inside of the case. I had a bunch of... Oh, here we go. Just going to take a razor blade. And that will cause the pins to not move move as well. Kind of want a dwarf retrick. Yeah, the dwarf ones are really cool. I have a friend that breeds dwarf reticulated pythons, and they're cool. I just like to have a really big one because it's such an interesting snake. Like, it's so agile and fast and can climb so well. Because a lot of the large snakes, like the Burmese pythons and the anacondas and stuff, are kind of slow and just ground dwellers. But the reticulated pythons are so interesting for how large they are. So, yeah. I was sub 4 in a V-Cube? Nice, nice. I definitely wasn't sub 4. Yeah, I definitely was not sub 4 until I had a Sheng Shell. That's crazy. I'm usually in a hurry to magnetize clocks because I'm doing it at a comp. Yeah, that's something I would never be able to do. There's definitely an appeal in doing it at comps because then you can just have people bring you a clock and do it for them. Are they a different species or something that didn't eat? Oh, like a dwarf retrick? They're the same species as snake, but different localities have different bloodlines and genetics, and their genetics are just allow for less length. It stops them growing much sooner than the mainland retics, because there's a bunch of different like islands that they're from on like around Indonesia, and like the mainland ones are the ones that get really big. But yeah, and then after doing that last step, I go back to this because that can leave kind of jagged edges a little bit on the inside. So I put it through on this way and do it again. Smooth it all out. Like Sri Lanka or something? Yeah, I don't actually know that much about Sri Lanka. I actually don't know where it is even. I think Southeast Asia? I guess I don't know for sure. I really need to get better acquainted with countries. I used to know people that lived in Indonesia. Yeah, make sure all the dust is off. Dust could cause problems. And then this side should be ready to be assembled. I gotta do it again over here. So. Oh, it's the island at the bottom of India. Okay, gotcha. I probably knew that at some point, but just like totally forgot because I've never needed to go to Sri Lanka or know anything about it. Chromebot, how's it going? Okay. How long have you been cubing? I started cubing May 2009, so this May will be 10 years. And something just broke off. This little middle peg broke off. That's not something I want to have happen because it makes it easier for them to get out of place. It's like when you throw it down sometimes they'll like jump out of place, and that's easier to have happen with the peg not there. But I guess it's also easier for them to go back into place because it doesn't have to be lined up with the peg. So maybe that's a good thing. I feel like it's not a good thing though. Been cubing since like summer of 2015. 2015 was a interesting year for cubing. World Championships in Brazil. It was Redneck Cubers' first competition. Summer 2015. Good times, good times. Yeah, that was a good time to get into cubing because like you didn't have to learn on garbage cubes like I did. I suppose you could still learn on garbage cubes, but it wasn't completely necessary. How long has everyone else been cubing for? That's in the chat right now. Leave your start dates in a comment if you care to share. If you don't want people to know, that's totally fine too. But I'm always interested to hear how long people have been cubing. I don't know why that's so interesting to me, but it is. I feel like learning on garbage cubes is ideal because once you switch to a different cube, it will feel great. My first cube was a Rubik's 2.0. Yeah, that's not that good. So maybe you did learn on garbage cube. Simon Kellum, mid 2016. That's crazy how fast you've gotten in such a little time. It's not even like 2.5 years. It's crazy. Big Cube hardware was almost unusable by then. I started fall 2010. Yeah. Yes, Big Cube hardware was, yeah. Spend $55 on a VCube 7. Or you could get one of the knockoff ones. That's what I did in 2010, 2009. I don't remember if I got my 7. I feel like, I don't remember when I got my 7x7. I got it on eBay. It was a YJ. I got it either 2009 or, it was probably 2010. Yeah, it had to be 2010. Yeah, so 2010 I got my first 7x7. It was a YJ. Yeah, because 2009 I like didn't have big cubes until Christmas. I got a 4x4. Tyler Johnson started in 2016 as well. Like 2 years. Gotcha. It's crazy how fast people can improve. Like, I will never think that starting on the garbage cubes was ideal because no one was improving nearly as fast as they are now when we were solving on garbage cubes. And that has a big part to do with it. It's also like the resources people have for getting faster. But yeah, crazy stuff. Waited for the Shengshao. Yeah, same. I didn't do any speed solves. When I really got into big cubes was like 2013 because we were doing a 7-person 7x7 team factory solve and I was slowing us down. I was like, okay, I gotta fix this. I am practicing 7x7. So I started doing like 7x7 solves in the car. All the time I was solving 7x7. And that helped me. And that's when I started to get like sub 4 at 6x6 and everything. And then I started like competing in big cubes because I didn't even compete in big cubes until either late 2013 or 2014. And then in summer 2014 I podiumed in 7x7. I got third at New Albany because that was back when all you new kids won't remember this. It used to be like a standard thing at competitions where we'd have 2 events at the same time, and you could only compete in one of them. It was so weird. Like, and that's how I podiumed in 7x7. You had to choose between 5x5 and 7x7 at that competition. And I chose 7x7 because I liked it better. And, I had a better chance at a podium. Which, in 2014, I wasn't getting very many podiums at all. I think that was the first time I ever got 2 podiums at a competition. My first official solo was 6x6, yeah, that Nat's schedule. He didn't even do 3x3 at the comp. Because it was on Saturday, gotcha. That makes sense. I don't know why I said gotcha, I just like made the connection in my head and then said gotcha when I got myself. So both of these should be pretty much good to go. Get some inserts. Oops. Alright, done with this. Okay. I think it was before your first official solve that we were racing 6x6. And that was in Philip Lewicki's video. Good times when we were racing on our modded Shengshaos. Here we go. I'm done with my soup. Okay. So I usually try and put the pegs at the bottom. I don't know why. And then we'll get this side. And take some of the lube off. As I dump the lube on the floor. Nice. So there we go, that should be good. And then I put the screws so they're horizontal, because I think that does make a little bit of a difference. But only because I saw wood cross on top. Not cross on top, noon on top. I don't solve cross on top. That would be, sometimes I do. I'm not going to try and say that I don't. Because I definitely do sometimes. That didn't work. There's a favorite Rubik's product. The silver 3x3 that is made out of silver and cost $1,000 when it was new. Because that's the most expensive. They made 2,500 of them. Most of them are not known where they are. So some people think someone like bought up a whole bunch of them. I wouldn't buy one if I knew where to buy one. There's someone selling one on the Twisty Puzzles forum recently, but I wouldn't even try to buy it because there's cheaper silver investments to be made in silver than a Rubik's product that's going to add the speciality value. I guess it might be a safe investment since it'll probably go up, but I don't have one. My next favorite Rubik's product after that, it goes Rubik's UFO, Rubik's Clock. So yeah. Springs. Oh yeah, I have to do the pins as well. These are the pins for this one. So the pins, I use a lot of glue on the pins because these magnets can come off too. So I get some sandpaper and take a little bit off the top because again, if someone's pushing on it and there's a little sharp piece of glue, that's going to be uncomfortable for that person. And I don't want that happening to my friends. So mine's Rubik's Clock, but only the pins. Same. Only the pins. The best part. If I pay you, could you magnetize my Rubik's Clock? Possibly in the future. At the moment, I don't really have time to be doing this for money, which sounds really stupid to say. out loud, but that's basically where I'm at right now. So, what's your least favorite? Good question. Probably like that plush 2x2 that doesn't even turn. It's just held together with like string. They have a plush 2x2 that's giant and turns. I got one of those for my nephew, but there's one that's just like a look at toy, and so that would be my least favorite. Actually, I take that back about my favorite. My favorite one is the traveling Rubik's 5x5. Yeah, that's my favorite. I don't know why I didn't think of that before. That's way better than like a $10,000 hunk of silver. Because it's so cool. It's got a peeling white sticker, and I hope to see it again one day. I've seen it twice. I was actually there when it originated. The traveling Rubik's 5x5. What is that? Good question. So, Dixon, Illinois competition 2018. It's around April. It's in April. I think. Maybe it was March. I actually don't know. Remember, had to be April. It was definitely April. There's lost and found, two lost and found items at the end of the day. One of them is a wingy skube. We give that to someone who doesn't have a good skube. Danny Jakob. Very cool guy. Glad he could come to more competitions last year. And a Rubik's 5x5. Now, nobody wants to take this Rubik's 5x5. We're like, this is a bad 5x5. So, what was that next competition? I want to make sure my timeline's straight, but I also don't want to take that much time. So, Walker Welch puts it in Slater's equipment at Dixon, the Dixon competition, and which is now all with me, but the 5x5 is not with me, because in May, I moved it from Slater's equipment to James Hildreth's equipment. James Hildreth is a delegate from Michigan, and so James Hildreth has it in his equipment, and he finds it, and then, so he takes it to the Northeast Championships and puts it in someone's equipment. I don't remember who. It was someone I don't really know. Puts it in their equipment, and they take it to Virginia, and then it gets with Ray Bai, and Ray Bai takes it to China, and we don't know where it ended up after China. It was in China in July. So I need to contact some people and see if we can find out where it is now, and find this traveling Rubik's 5x5, international 5x5. Yeah, it's a great thing. KS Cubes, hi, how's it going? Good stuff, good stuff. Just finishing up a clock to be assembled. Just making sure all of the extra glue stuff is off. These are for giving away. I probably won't do any like YouTube giveaway with these ones because I've got a lot of my friends that I've put on a list to get a magnetic clock, and I haven't made any for months. So that's why I ordered a bunch of stuff. I've got a couple more to finish, but I'm kind of stupid because I thought I had more of the pin magnets in the mail, and I checked and I don't. So I'm going to be out of pin magnets, at least the size I like using. I have enough for 3 more clocks, and I've got 2 more clocks to glue. But I've only got enough for 1 more with the magnet size that I like using, which is 5x1. I've got 2 sets of 6x1, and then one set of 5x1. A couple of these have 6x1s. What are you doing with all those clocks? I'm making them to give to my friends and people on the list. So I have a comp in 2 weeks, and I haven't been practicing ever since Smash came out at the beginning of December. Yeah, that's it's been a topic and activity. I have a lot of competitions. My thing of lube fell out over here, so I'm getting that, which is why I'm just... Oops. That wasn't good. My knee hit the table. I think this is my name. Yeah. Cool. Separate those, and everything else will just stay here. So, I've played it 300 hours. Oh my gosh. That's a lot. So, for the pins, I haven't lubed these yet because I like lubing them after I clean off the extra glue. I add a little dot on each side, and then I take my thumbs and my fingers and I go like this and work it all around. And then take the little washers and put those on, and they don't really need to be lubed on the top because there's already lube on the case. So, do you have an original Rubik's clock? Yeah, I think I've got maybe 5 or 6 of them. Most of them aren't good. I've only got a couple good ones, maybe 4 good ones. I spent a lot of time on games. I spent 500 hours on Ultra Moon. Is that a Pokemon? I've been practicing a lot of 7x7 since it's somehow my best podium chance next week. Oh my gosh. What do you average now? You're probably faster than me, because instead of practicing, I've been making clocks for a week. Not a full week, but it probably will be a full week by the time I'm done. Yeah, it's Pokemon. Cool. I knew a Pokemon reference, guys. I actually get a lot of Pokemon references because my friends like it. I've never played or watched it. I watched part of 2 episodes on Twitch when they were streaming Pokemon. So I appear to be 1 washer short, but I have an extra washer over here that's been sitting there for a couple days. So I think that might be from this one. Even if it's not, I'm going to use it. So, can I buy a bad Rubik's from you for cheap? I'll have to check and see what I mean by bad. One of them is in like the group of things that someone's like on a payment plan for. And I'll have to check and see what I have. They're all kind of like scattered about. If I can find one, I'll try. There's one on eBay recently. It might have ended already, but I'm not sure. That was really cheap, like less than $10. I want a good PC for my birthday. Yeah, a good PC would be a nice thing to have. I've been wanting to upgrade my laptop for a few years now, and have not gotten around to it. So I just need new pins. Yeah, that's the thing. Is the pins? There was someone selling like a 4 parts Rubik's clock, and it looked like it was just disassembled. Like you might be able to fix it, but they wanted like more than $20 for it on eBay, which was weird. Yeah, most of the Rubik's clocks I have right now are like there's like a couple that are, there's one that hasn't, no, 2 that haven't been opened, and I'll probably just keep those without opening them. I don't particularly know why, but averaging like 335. Gotcha. I think you're 3rd on the psych sheet. I can't imagine it'd be any worse than 3rd, but Or at least some money to save up for, yeah. What's your favorite cube that you own? My favorite cube that I own. Good question. There's some good ones. That's a hard one. Man, it's got to be something with like sentimental value. Maybe my first 3x3, maybe a Zanchi of some sort. Like this is one. This used to be my main for so long, for one-hand and two-handed. The 55mm Zanchi. And then I had another Zanchi that I used for a while, like the 57mm one, that original one that I got when it came out. That's a really good one. So these two would be up there for my favorite. There's ones that I've gotten like from certain people that have sentimental value from being from certain people. It's hard to say though. My favorite cube. That's a really tough one. Alright, so I think we're ready to assemble. Except I put this in upside down. Yikes. So, and when there's lube on the outside of the case, I always wipe that off. Because that could get on the insert. And the insert doesn't need lubrication. So, there's a guy at Georgia Champs using a Lubic Zanchi. That's a good cube. I've got a couple of those. Actually, there's a Lubix A5 right here. We had a pretty fun, during whiskey when John Brashon and Ryan Jew and Jacob Ambrose were here. I picked like 10 old 3x3s and then threw a new one in to throw them off. And I like took the logo, the center caps with the logos off of some of them, and had people guess what cube it was, because like they've all been cubing a really long time. Yeah, the Lubic Zanchi is a good cube. I've got a Zanchi Silk, which might be the smoothest puzzle I own. That's the one made by the Cubicle. It's an original plastic and then lubed with the silk modifications from the Cubicle. It's always a relief when you put it together and it just turns all right when you assemble it, because there's definitely been a lot of times where I put it together the first time and it just doesn't work well. So it's always nice to have one kind of turn out like this. I'm going to tighten it a little bit because I think that makes breaking it in a little bit faster. And then I'm going to do some sols because I got to break it in, because it's still not good. I would not say this is a good clock yet. It's alright. It's usable. But not old dime cubes are so nice to turn, yeah. Yeah, if I had to just like play with the cube, I try not to play with them too much because they wear out quicker than new puzzles, I think. I want to get sub 20 but hate learning algs. Finish F12 at 10 seconds. Use Rue. The Redneck Cuber has the right suggestions. Rue is a lot of fun and good if you don't want to learn algs, I think. I don't know that much about Rue because I don't use it, but I can recommend it to people because I know it's good. Alright, so after it gets assembled, this one isn't too bad, but I'm still going to work on it a bit. Just kind of scratching off. There's like glue residue that's not really residue, it's just like a white film that's on the plastic casing and looks bad. So that comes off with use, so while I'm breaking it in, that will pretty much come all the way off. And this timer is almost out of battery, so I'm using it while it's almost out of battery. Normally I wouldn't use, it's 42 algs. Yeah, that's pretty good, actually. Alright. The rest is intuitive, yeah. You can use 2-look OLL. CMLL is, yeah. Gotcha. Okay. Alright, so this one isn't bad. I guess I'll try and open up an internet thing so I can do some timed solves with some actual scrambles. I'm not going to display it on screen, I'm just going to have it on a stack mat because yeah, I can just like say the times, whatever. So okay. Just check on some stuff here. All right. Back to chat. Here we go. Average about 14 on 3x3. Do you have any tips for sub 12? Do last layer efficiently as you can with what the knowledge that you have now if you don't want to learn algs. Obviously, if you want to learn algorithms, that's going to help you to get sub 12. But you don't have to know full OLL or PLL to be sub 12. Full PLL is really helpful. OLL not necessarily as much, but just making sure you're doing it as efficiently as possible with the algorithms that you already know is going to be a good thing. And then kind of the same thing with F2L. So yeah. That was 631 with a couple lockups. So I'm not going to do all of the break-in on stream, just so I can work on other stuff, because I'm not going to stay on too late today. 687. So on a Rumble 25 AMP, I would assume that is a computer thing. Oops. I thought it sounded like one of the faces jumped, but I don't think that actually happened, because the scramble is correct. So, see. Do I have any tips for clock? Turn accurately. I feel like that's the most important thing with clock. Efficiency is helpful when you're trying to get sub 6, but for just trying to get faster, accuracy is going to be the key. Speed will come later. You can always just try and turn faster, but you want to make sure you're turning accurately. I feel like most of the problems people have is because they're not turning accurately. That's a DNF. 6.4. But like there, I didn't turn accurately twice, and it caused me to have to solve a corner twice and get a DNF. bad for accuracy, 7.2. Yeah. This video makes me want to practice clock. Okay, but it doesn't make me want to practice clock. This is very bad accuracy. That was an 8. So, same, so I am. Yeah, you gotta get on the pod next week. I honestly think clock, you have a pretty good shot at podium. Because even the psych sheet, even though the psych sheet looks hard, it probably won't be as fast as the psych sheet, so. Oops. DNF. 6, I think. Oof. What comp is next week? The competition that I'm going to next week is Hendersonville Winter 2019. First competition of the year. Gonna be a good comp. So, 6th place. Dang. I'm second, but my average that puts me in second was from, or at least I was second when I checked. I don't know. I might be lower down now, but that average is from 2017. I have such bad results last year. Hopefully I don't get results like this year. Gotta go. See you later, Mystic 78 Z8. Can't read. Pin was getting stuck there. That's one of the things that usually goes away with breaking in, I think, is the pins getting stuck less, and then that like glue residue. It obviously just kind of turns better overall. Stanley and Evan aren't coming. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Well, registration closes tomorrow, I think. So hopefully they don't. The next time Evan has a competition, I'm planning on going to it in Pittsburgh. But I've never actually beaten Evan Lewin in a competition. I've beaten him when we were like racing on Cuban time once, but CJ Shang, yo, cats don't like lemons. Do you know that? So, yeah, interesting event. This week has like forced me to practice. Because I've been breaking in all these clocks, so I have to practice to break them in. So it's kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Actually practicing the event for the first time, and speaking of fruit, oh dear, brought more snacks with me. Getting kind of hungry, so. CJ Shang, how's it going? Did you see that there's going to be a Chicago competition, CJ? I put it in the group chat, but I just got a 12. Yikes, Dalton. You can do it. Please tell me you were solving 2 clocks and you just got 2 6 flats. Alright, I'm going to call this clock done for now, but set it on top so I know it needs to be broken in more. I want to get this one glued so it can start drying. For this one I'm going to use this size of magnets, which are 12 millimeter by 2 millimeter and an 8 millimeter hole. I've got one set of these bad boys. And then DMF6, yikes. Round 2, yikes. So these magnets are the largest ones I've ever had. I don't know what the strength rating is, but it's got to be strong. I guess it doesn't have to be strong. I think it's strong. They're 14 millimeters by 2 millimeters with an 8 millimeter hole. These are more expensive than the 12 millimeter ones, and I think these are going to be a little too strong. So I thought about just using these and then the strongest magnets I could on the pins, so that it's just the strongest magnets ever. But I think I'll probably go for these weaker magnets on the pins and just see if for some chance it turns out to actually be good with the bigger magnets. But that's the next one I want to do, is with the larger magnets. So, good stuff. Good stuff. I think CJ left the chat. Rip. It's been too long since I've seen CJ. Is it October? I think it was October. Beginning of October. It's been too long since I've seen everyone. I haven't had a competition yet this year. Okay. What do I need? This goes here. Bennett Chapel, hey, how's it going? And then 2 9s. Dalton. You're not that slow, I believe in you. I'm going to board this thing. So, for adding magnets to the cases, I get this extra case that I have, and I put the pins in it. I'm going to finish my banana first. I still have more of my banana over there, though. So I always... Nice, 545. That's more like it. So with the pins, I always do the magnets on the case after the pins have dried, at least most of the way, because I take a ring magnet and test each one to make sure they're facing the same way, and then I put them in a case like this. So make sure they're all facing the same way. And they are. So that means I don't have to, I can use any magnet as a guide for gluing them on for polarity. And then I just put a few of them on so that I can know the polarity and where they're going to go. So do my glue on top of paper towels. And go ahead and close the internet. Okay. And then I get my some glue. This one, I'm probably just going to use super glue and not any other methods of keeping them on. Because I've already done everything to the case, all of the preventative stuff to help the super glue stick more. And that's just cosmetic stuff. There's no chemicals or anything used for this stage. And then I get myself a toothpick. These are so handy. This is my favorite tool for magnetizing clocks. I'll add. I'm going to Albany. Nice. I might go to Albany. I'm signed up, but I prefer to go to Northeast Champs or the Albania competition that weekend. flights to Albania are less than $600. Now, I don't have $600 to go to Albania, but that'd be super fun if I did, because I know one person in Albania. So, and I get the magnet on the toothpick and keeping the same polarity, put the toothpick through the hole, and then drop the magnet down, and press it down, and then get it aligned so it's not going to be sticking over the edge at all, because that will cause problems when you want to push your pin through and then it gets stuck on a magnet. So you get it pressed down all the way in the right spot, and then use the toothpick to fill in all the little gaps in that hole with glue, and it goes up onto the sides of the magnet, and then we'll call that done for right now. And then there's two stages of glue. There's this stage, and then I add more later on once this has dried. So once this is dried, I'll add more to like the weak spots where there isn't glue covering it as well, and then let that dry for like a day. So I'll let this dry for however long it takes me to do all the magnets, putting them on and whatever, and then I add more soon after, once it's just had a little time to dry. So. Yeah, not very many of like the local cubers. I don't think we're going to Albany. So it's, I'll use interesting to describe it. Go a little more this way. Looks good, boss. So this part is almost, when it's done correctly and it doesn't get like messed up or attracted to one of the other magnets, this is like almost the most fun part for me, is gluing the magnets onto the case. Because it's just like it's actually coming together now, and it's not just all weird stuff. This feels like the most important part. But then sometimes they'll like attract to the other magnet and get glue all over the case, and that's not fun. So, yeah. I also tried a number of different brands of super glue. I find that just like the regular super glue brand that I get at the dollar store works just as well, if not better, than more expensive brands. So I get 2 little packs for $1, and ends up being like probably the cheapest part of the clock. Well, the pin magnets might actually end up being cheaper per clock. Oh yeah, they almost definitely do. Yeah, never mind. The pin magnets, little 5x1s are the cheapest part. So typical 7s now. Gotcha. Well, I hope you can get sub 7 in one of the rounds. Hopefully the final round next week. That'd be cool. Yeah. So, oops, that was probably loud. I want CJ to come back. He was, I don't know what I was gonna say. I need to get people on the stream, like Dalton. That'd be a good one to have on stream. He's always here for streams. You want to stream with me sometime, Dalton? I don't know if that'd be something to be interested in, but I'd be down. I've only ever had one person on, and I just like have to set stuff up differently. So I don't have time today to do it, but sometime you should join the stream if you can. I also don't stream like very often, so we could do like a clock stream where we're actually solving clock. Or feet, since you're better than me at feet. Awesome. Well, sometime I'm gonna message you and see if you're open, to see if you're available for a stream, because that'd be super fun. It's always weird just talking to myself for, like, the only one verbally talking. Like, I'm obviously talking to other people, but it's weird being the only one verbally talking for a few hours. But I think I'll get a sub 6 clock average soon. If I, like, paid attention to clock, I think I'd get it very soon. I think I'd get it next week. But I don't. And I don't know how to, like, pay attention for a full average. It's like sometimes when I sit down, I'm just like, I feel like I'm paying attention. And that's the best word I can think of to describe the feeling when I sit down sometimes and I feel like I'm paying attention, and then I just get like 5s all the time when I feel that way. But then there's other times where I'm just like distracted and not paying as close of attention, and then I get like 8s because I don't turn accurately. I'm kind of surprised I didn't get a sub 6 average when I was practicing last year, because I was getting low 6 averages of 100, and I felt like I was getting decent practice, like quality decent, and it just wasn't turning into good official results. So then I didn't practice because I didn't have competitions with clock for months, and that brings us to now where I practice when I make clocks. And I've gotten some low 5 averages while making these clocks, but it's been a long time since I got a sub 5 average at home. And then all of my practice is done on StackMat. So I can't think of a question, but hey man, hey Ballistic Cuber, glad you could be here. That's alright. We got plenty of stuff to talk about without questions, so don't feel like you're neglecting the stream by not having a question. I don't even have a sub 5 average, yeah. I was just practicing a lot, trying to get... Eventually, when you practice as much as I was practicing over the summer, you just get good scrambles kind of in a row. I obviously don't know how much you practice, so maybe... yeah. That might come off as rude, but I don't intend it to be rude. I mean, in the best of ways, like, I think you're probably capable of getting sub 5. But, I still can't seem to get a sub 6 at home. Yeah, Walker was the same way. Walker's was like sub 6 single, though. Walker, I think Walker has a sub 5 now. He got a good scramble and a magnetic clock. For a long time, like, he had a 6, at least 1 6 average in competition, and his at-home single was like 595. Walker does pretty well in clock at competitions when there's good scrambles. And part of the thing with me getting a sub 6 official clock average is I've had lots of opportunities where I could have gotten below 6 and low 5 averages on the scrambles, because I've gotten some ridiculously easy scrambles, but I don't do well on good scrambles in competition. That's something I've practiced a little bit. A little bit since Nationals, because I kind of figured that out at Nationals where the final scrambles were so good, and I overthink it when I get a good scramble. I approach it differently than when I approach a bad scramble, and so it just for whatever reason, puts me in a different mindset, I guess. And then I usually end up misturning or doing a pin in the right time on good scrambles and end up getting really bad times, like 8s and 9s, on what should be 4s and 5s. So that's something I want to do, is approach, because at home I don't approach good scrambles differently. I approach all the scrambles pretty much the same way. I just don't inspect very much or inspect a lot depending on the day. I'll either inspect all the scrambles a lot or inspect them not very much. But in competition, I'll I just approach it differently, which is something I'd like to work on. Is like getting better at handling good scrambles good in competition. I did that at Nats too. Yeah, that was a big yikes. Was Nats finals. 5 of the 10 fastest averages to not podium in a clock final were in nationals finals. So places 4 through 8 are all on the top 10 of fastest averages to not podium. So Jacob Ambrose has the fastest 4th place ever, the fastest average to not podium ever, and then I have the 2nd fastest. Well, I might have 3rd. I actually don't know. I definitely have the fastest 4th place, which is not a title I wanted to have. I wanted to have 2nd person to 3-peat national champion. I was barely sub 9. Yeah, that was rough. That was a rough final. Carrie, if you haven't tried the scrambles from nationals, I'm sure you have since you live in the southeast and are good at clock, but they're definitely something worth taking a look at. They're just so crazy. One thing I was kind of happy of with the nationals finals is I didn't know what other people were doing, and I had some really bad times going into the last solve, and I had bad counting times, so I didn't think. I thought if I did well in the last scramble, I would have a chance at a podium because I already had a 5. And then on the last scramble, I was putting I didn't put any pressure on myself to do well on the first 4. I was just having fun. Jared Stinson was my judge, so I was having a good time and not paying attention to what other people were doing. But then on that last one, that was the only one I put pressure on myself to do well because I knew I needed to do well, and I ended up getting the fastest time out of anybody on that last scramble. It was 5:11, and so that I was actually satisfied with because I knew I needed to do well, and I did well. So that gave me at least some confidence going forward that I at least have the capability to do well under pressure, even though I don't most of the time. I should have done good since I was with the slow people. Yeah. Who was at your table, Dalton? I don't remember. I know Jacob and Katie were at a table. I was at a table with Evan Liu, and Walker was with Silas. Were you with Sam Barrett? I don't remember. Or Jake Buckley, maybe. Also, on the other side of me was Callum Hale's Jeff, and that was fun because I knew he was doing really bad because he kept reacting poorly to all his solves, and I think he had at least 1 DNF. But it was fun. Right before the final, we did right hand, left hand clock solve. I don't remember who suggested it. I think I might have. I was like, hey, let's do right hand, left hand. We did that. That was fun. We got a 14. I'd like to do that again, practice it with someone. I guess it'd have to be Walker because No one else would do that kind of stuff with me here. No one else good at clock. Christian Martin, gotcha. 14th seed. This is. I didn't realize you were that poorly placed going into finals. I don't mean that like an insult. I just mean like I would expect you to be. With 16 people making it to the final, I would have expected you to be higher up. Yeah. So now I'm just adding more glue to where I think will be a weak spot once it all dries solidly. Hopefully none of these magnets will fall off. So yeah. At Nationals this year, I'd like to make another final besides clock final, because I used to make finals in several events. I failed round 1 too and was afraid I had missed it again. Yeah, that would have sucked. Anyway, I could have made Pyraminx finals this year, but also Pyraminx, so. Alright, now set this over here to dry. And I'll come back to that tomorrow sometime. And then this is the clock that goes with it, so I put that over there too. Doesn't really need to stay with its case, but I do anyway. So, alright, I can clean this one and assemble it. Yeah, this is the one that hasn't been lubed. So it'll be interesting to see what it's like. It'll probably be bad, but... Oh, here we go. This is like the least fun part for me. Just cleaning it. I was 8th on the psych sheet. Yikes. It was kind of nice though having, even though I wasn't on the podium, having at US Nationals, not having the podium be all foreign people. I guess it wasn't in 2017, but 2015, 16, and then first place in 17 was mostly non-US residents. So yeah, it was kind of nice to have an all US podium. Would have rather had different people on the podium, but I would have liked an all red stage podium, like all staff members from the red stage, or like some red stage and then Walker from orange. When we were at lunch on Tuesday. We were at lunch on Tuesday. Some people were asking about the clock podium. I was like, yeah, I'd like it if it was all red stage. And Walker was like, hey. I was like, no, I was just counting you in the red stage because I'm colorblind, since he's on orange. And and one of the people at lunch was like, oh, I didn't know you were colorblind too. And I'm like, I'm not. I was just trying to save myself from insulting my mom. But I just said I didn't want Walker to be on the podium, but I would have liked Walker to be on the podium. He doesn't get enough podiums at Nationals. He gets enough other times, though. He podiums a lot. I was hoping me and Jacob, yeah, that would have been a good one. That would have been legit. All red stage. I mean, red stage podium was obviously super likely just because all of the fast people were on red stage. At the time, Stanley didn't have a better average than me, so I feel like Stanley was probably still... I feel like Stanley had a better average than Jacob going into it. I could be wrong, but I feel like top 3 places were Evan, me... Stanley might have been 3rd, I don't remember. Or either way, Jacob was really high up there. And then you obviously in 8th was not too far behind. Like, it wouldn't be unreasonable for you to podium. That would have been an awesome podium. Okay. I hope there will be an all Southeast podium one year. I feel like that's definitely possible. There's definitely a good chance that'll happen eventually. But with Evan and Stanley being so good at competing, and then I might be a potential podium at some year in the future. Probably not this year, but eventually I could have a chance to podium again. And I don't compete nearly as well as Stanley and Evan. So I feel like Stanley and Evan, at least one of those guys, are going to be on the podium most of the time. Was it only 5 people we had in finals? It was Evan, you, Jacob, Katie, me. I guess that's only 5. Huh. I guess I don't know who else would have made it. Maybe Mitch or... No, Mitch isn't good at clock. Yeah, I guess there's not really... There's people that knew how to scramble clock there, but not like finals. We could have had Walker and Stanley on our team, and we could have had 7 people. We could have been... No, that's not 50%. Don't listen to me, I don't know how to do math. Yeah, the Southeast, though, is definitely the best, like, overall region in clock. Like, the Midwest used to be the best region. Like, Great Lakes, I guess you could say. But some people from Minnesota. Minnesota isn't in Great Lakes, but some people from Minnesota are pretty good back in the day. Even though Walker has a better average than them now. But it used to be that, like, for clock solvers in the U.S., it was like I was the fastest because Evan wasn't living in the U.S., and then there was Kit and Logan, who were like who were a decent amount behind me, and then everyone else like way behind me. That was a decent time for results because I didn't have to try very hard to get national champions titles like I do now. Like it would take a lot of work for me to get it now. I tried, but I'm obviously not good at the type of work that it requires to get it now. But then the Southeast started getting good at clock in like 2016 late. And then 2017 they just totally took over because I completely stopped at that point, and Logan wasn't really competing or practicing, and Kit was busy being senior delegate. So, yep. Started a clock revolution. Yep. Yep. It was fast too. Everyone, mostly Carson. Yeah. Yeah, I'm hoping in May he'll be able to go to the Colorado competition, and I'll be able to go to that, because I've still never met Carson. And, like, he's obviously leaving before before Hendersonville. At least I think he's leaving before then. Yeah, so what's crazy is like none of the fast people in the South, at least that I know of, none of them use magnetic clocks, and like everybody fast up here except Stanley uses magnetic clocks. Like in 2016, Stanley wasn't relevant in anything. He was getting like 20s and 3x3 and like slow stuff in every event. He wasn't doing most of the events. Crazy how times change so quickly. You need to meet Carson. Yeah, I talked to him online, like in messages and stuff. I messaged back and forth with him a decent amount. Mullen uses one. That's what I was thinking was he might, but I didn't remember for sure. I definitely think it's not necessary. It's obviously not necessary to be fast with it because Jacob has the second fastest average and also the first fastest average in North America. Like the first 5 fastest averages in North America ever were all set on non-magnetic clocks. So I would definitely consider not using a magnetic one if I could make a good one without it. Like, there's 2 sets of Rubik's brand pins I was I liked and were good, and then they just got like too worn out after a while. So I have to like find another set of good pins, because none of the ones I have now I feel like are good. Rachel might have one that's good. I'll have to find that and take the pins out of it because she doesn't use it. But Noah isn't competitive on his own clock. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't think there's anyone like that here because everyone who's like competitive at it has their own clock. That's good. That's interesting though. Yeah. I should do this where people can see it, but I don't think it's Do you know what weekend the Wisconsin comp with Pira is? It was going to be in January, but because of the Albany competition, I couldn't do it. So, I basically have to either find someone to organize one or organize one myself. And I basically don't have time to do that this week. I thought about doing it at the Chicago one in February, but the organizer doesn't want to do it, so that's fine with me. Ray almost made Nats finals. I think he was on red also. I was 13th in round 1. Gotcha. Interesting, yeah. I guess I forgot Ray was on red. I think he was, you're right. Interesting. I forgot about him. Would have been cool if Tommy Shaliga had made Nats finals. I didn't get to see him as much as I wanted to at Nats. Like, I was excited we were on the same stage because, and I only got to talk to him like a few times. We had just like totally different like schedules and whatnot. 11th in finals. Is that your? That's. Is that? I was gonna ask if that was like your worst placement in a final. But then I remember that like people aren't good when they start like Stanley is. Because Stanley has some events where he just like doesn't place bad because he's good at like everything all the time. And then obviously people have a lot of DNF averages. Tommy was 31st. Yeah, I don't think he was good at clock. Nobody in the Northeast is good at clock as far as I'm aware. So these should be good to go. Alright. Southeast Champs was worse, yeah. Inserts fell on the ground. Luckily I can get them with my feet. I didn't want to bend over to them. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and try the Nats final scrambles for the first time. Good. I was third my first clock comp. Nice, that's awesome. That's a very southeast thing to say, it seems like anyway. Oh yeah. Super good at clock. Super good at clock. So these have been modified to have the little things cut off. Oh, I gotta do the pins yet. Mitch was 19th, so not that far off. Yeah, that's actually higher than I would have expected him to be. Good job, Mitch. He wasn't sub Mitch though, so sucks to suck, but I feel like this one might cause a problem though. Yeah, so here it's not going to be able to see, but I cut the little thing off and then it's still sticking up far. It's still sticking up further than the rest, so I'm going to bend it a little bit, but bend it like straight down. So it's not like a sharp edge point. So that hopefully doesn't stand up as well, but I feel like it'll work better. So I also shouldn't block everything with my giant head. Hope we have a similar red stage staff to last year, this year. If they keep the rule the same, though, for like 5 delegates per stage, we cannot have the same stage because 3 delegates in a row, like the newest promoted candidate delegates, 3 in a row were from the red stage. That was kind of funny. I like that, but yeah, it was a fun stage. I hope they announce it soon. It'd be nice for everyone to know where it is. I guess most people aren't making travel plans this far out, but maybe. Yes. just like vacation work days. 6.6 average, wasn't really warmed up, yeah. Yeah, that would have been good enough for top 10 probably. Of counting 528, yeah. Yeah, that's the stuff. Alright. I didn't put the washers on. I'm really stupid. Oops. That would have been 6th, yeah. Behind Walker. Walker... I think Walker had the 6.6. Maybe Walker was 6th and it would have pushed him to Walker to 7th. Yeah. The crazy part about... I don't know what... I guess I don't remember what 5th place was. Crazy part about Nationals is my 4th place average and Jacob's... Or my 5th... I was 5th. Okay. That's right. I'm really dumb. Don't worry about it. So Jacob's 4th place average and my 5th place average would have would have gotten 1st place at every single Nationals except 2018, where we got 4th and 5th. Oh man. Yeah, I can't remember everything. I knew I was 5th because I knew I was more than one spot off podium. I just can't talk and do stuff at the same time. Alright, so an unlubed clock. Okay, well, now I know what an unlubed clock feels like, and now I'll be lubing it. Couldn't even finish a solve. Alright, here we go. So for lubing it, I get Traxxas 50K, and I put 4 dots. More like lines. In kind of each of the corner areas. And then I use my finger to spread it around. Because I can use a paper towel to clean off my finger and then wash my hands later. And this is just what I found the quickest and most even way to spread it all out. And once it's over all the contact points, then you're done. Well, not done. Done for now. And then on this side we get 4 of them. Spread it all out so pieces are covered. And then, once that's done, and take very, very small amounts and put it on the inside of the track in that circle-y area. There's a corner dial to spread it. That makes sense. I like to put just a little bit on these and then get it around so that it, because there's a decent amount of contact between that and the faces, so I think it helps. Doesn't take much to do, so that on all of them. And then after this one, I've got that one that I just glued, and then only 2 more, and then I don't have any more to do right now, which is awesome because, like I said, this is my 5th day in a row working on clocks. Lots of hours. Maybe this is the 4th day. I don't remember. It's been a lot. Been a lot of clock. So then I obviously put a little too much on. So I'll just try and dab off any clumps I see, and then this side. At Nationals 2016, I lubed my clock the night before finals. Didn't help. Maybe it did, I don't know. I might have gotten worse if I didn't do that. Who knows? And that's 2017. I wasn't lubing anything. I should lube these pieces too. So because the springs go on here, put a little bit on the inside of there. I don't know if it helps or not, but in my mind it helps because there's contact and movement in that area between the spring and the face, so I put a little bit in there just to keep things moving. I've always wanted to try just gluing the spring to one of the sides. I don't think it would actually do anything. It's just something I've always wanted to try. I do relube clocks, and when I'm practicing, I do it quite often to sort of keep it at like a sweet spot. I don't know about how often, though. It's hard to say. When I was practicing a lot this summer, maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks. That's just a guess. It could have. That's what I want to say. It was probably I was like doing one every week, but it was like a different one since I have 2 mains. I was probably doing like every 2 weeks on each clock, and then just ended up doing it once every week. Also, another thing I wanted to do is like take 2 of them and make a clock that's like completely light colored pieces, and then one that's completely like dark colored pieces. I probably won't do it with this batch because most of them are already glued, and I don't want to do that to the one with the big boy magnets. Yeah, Dalton said he just relubes his when it feels dry and scratchy. That's pretty much the best way to go about it, is just do it when it feels like it needs it. Like when I was doing the most clock, it needed it, I guess, once every 2 weeks or so. So, yeah, and that's just like adding a little bit to make sure it, and it's usually just to the casing, and the pins don't usually ever need to be relubed. Yeah, so that's what it's always very satisfying to finish one and like say, okay, that's done. I'm comfortable giving that to someone now. Oh, no, oh. That was gross. Okay. Excuse me, by the way. I think a completely light colored clock would help with recognition. Yeah, that's what I wanted to test out. Like, I have kind of a mixture here. Like, most of the time I do opposites, so I do like light colored faces, dark insert. But on some of them I have like dark colored faces, dark insert. But I'd like to do a clock that's like this on both sides, and then this on both sides, which I think you understand. But I don't want to have to wait for more clocks to come in, because I have to order them like at least 10 at a time from China to get a decent price anywhere. And then it takes like, I think it only took like a week for the last ones to get to me, which was decent. But then I just sat on them for like a month and a half. Probably more than a month and a half, actually. Right around a month and a half. Okay. Okay. Cool. Yep. I think this one is going to work fine. Not quite. Yeah, it's going to need either breaking in or some fixing. I'll try and do a few solves on it. And then I guess I can open up the other one and get started on it. Because I still got an hour or two I can stay on. I feel like I should just be on Discord with Dalton and Carrie, though. Since that's just what it's turned into. Which I don't mind at all. I kind of enjoy it. Not just actually people. One person I know and then one person I kind of know. I don't really know. Oh, Richard's here. Hey, Richard. How's it going? Just magnetizing some clocks. This one, even though I'm putting tape on it, is not finished because it wasn't turning too well. And so now I'm going to do some solves and see if I can figure out the best way to fix it. This pin might give me some trouble. I think I did stress test this one, but that's what I do a lot to make sure they're good, is just throw them down hard enough. So it's probably too loud for being on camera, but also my internet, Chrome, didn't open. What's your global average on clock? If I had to guess, I'd say mid 6 seconds. a lot of my averages have been kind of slower than that. Not a lot. Most of them are in the mid-seconds, even when breaking all of these in. But some of them have been slower because, like, they're obviously not great when I first make them, like this one. That was a 6.77. It is 523. Someone is magnetizing clocks. Crazy concept. Crazy concept. I think I'm mid-7. Nice, nice. You gotta get to that mid-6 though. We gotta tie more often. Even though we haven't tied, so more often isn't the correct terminology to use there. But we were talking about you earlier, 10 on Fire. We were talking about the crazy nationals final scrambles. And then I finished up a couple other ones today. Maybe just one other one. I finished one other one and then glued one today. And this one is, I want to say, the worst out of the batch that I've finished so far. And the batch so far consists of 8. So this is the 9th one I finished. Okay, the scrambles, yeah. Yeah, it was some good stuff. Liked it. Well, actually, I would have preferred bad scrambles. We were talking about this earlier, how I usually do better on bad scrambles. Than I do on good scrambles. Thinking about mid-6, slightly faster. Nice, nice. This one's gonna need a lot of breaking in. I need to tie Stanley again. I've been tied with him at 2 different rankings. That's crazy. But yeah, tying Stanley is a good one to be tied with because he's always good. Gotta have sack cubing 7 with clock, it seems. Oh, actually, I haven't touched a clock in a while. Yeah. It's an interesting event. It was 5.5. That was 709. 854 and 733. Nice, nice. So I just expect, what does he have now? 606? I think he has 606 average now. So you just need 606 next weekend. I was very close to I'm gonna aim to be substantially at both single and average. That's a good goal, I guess, because he's fast at everything. I think I've still got him in Pyraminx. Because otherwise he's got me beat in clock, so I only have, I think, FMC and Pyraminx on him. $7.98. I'm really bad at this event. I do have him in Pyraminx. Nice, nice. Oops. I just entered 11, but the time was actually, ooh, that's not good. So this isn't solved, so I'm hoping that it's just, I'm dumb and didn't solve it and not that it jumped position. Because that'd be something I'd have to fix. I'm gonna have to fix this pin anyway, but $6.48. $6.12. Pure single and FMC and average and mean. Gotcha. Yeah, he has a better FMC single than I do. He shouldn't, because I should have 20. But I don't know how to write D moves, so I've got a 26. Oop, that's 6.45. $5.37. Got my first ever FMC success at Sac Cubing 6. Nice. After the 3 fails at Western Champs, I needed this. Yeah, FMC is the best event in the entire WCA, in the entire world. There's nothing that is better than it. There's nothing that takes more skill. Unless you get lucky. I don't even have Wisconsin state record single for FMC because of that 20. Sucks to suck. $9.48. Ooh, that's a DNF. This is not a great one. Also, I just started on a side with all the pins up. 603. I shouldn't be allowed to do this event. You'll probably get a 20 at Hendersonville. Kieran has Georgia state record single. Yeah, he does. And that's amazing. He's so great. 595, average of 5, but counting 6'4". On a bad clock. Just got a Q package. Nice. What's inside? In here. If I got my 920 2 weeks earlier, it would have tied state record. Nice. Now you just need 11 moves better. 11 moves to hang. That is 675. YJ MGC 2x2 Moyu Aosheng M5x5. That's a good one. Cubicle Labs Volt M. It would be Nemesis free then. Yeah. That'd be legit. Ooh, yikes. I hate 11. Be Nemesis free like forever. Solve 8.45. Gotta study for my exams instead of Cube though. Yeah, those will get you, Space Goat. Those will get you. I also would feel kind of guilty since it would be something dumb. Well, it's kind of got to be something dumb almost now. To be an 18, because like his skeleton was like the same as mine on my 20. It was 17 to 3 corners. It was just really lucky. I guess lucky and stupid, or lucky and dumb wouldn't be the same thing, but. Matt's bulk. Probably be Rue with M2 as the last 6 edges. That would be great. Okay, I'm going to be done with this one, but I will mark it with some tape so I know that it's bad and I need to fix it. How I do that, I take some tape and I put it on the clock. So this is the bad one. Alright. I've been cutting these open all week and just saw that there's like a pull tab on the bag. It's not like that really makes a difference, but okay, I'm going to do a solve on this one. I'm very impressed with this batch because I got 10 clocks in this shipment and none of them had broken cases. The last one I got before this was 5 and 2 of them were broken. So I'm pretty satisfied with the quality control. I hope I can scramble this. There we go. Is issues always with the inserts not lining up? Yeah, I haven't noticed that to be a problem on these either. Because there is those ones where it's like always off to the side. But Aiden Gutsman, what's your opinion on the BW clock? Ooh, this one just did that thing where the piece skips. It's that sound where it's like springs back. I'm not sure which one did it because I think I mis-scrambled too, but I don't really like them, the BW clocks. They are expensive, they're not that good, and they don't work very well. Quality control must be getting way better. Yeah, I'm very satisfied with. I think they were like $4 a piece, something like that. So not bad. The BW clocks, like the magnets on the inside come out, and then you have to take it apart to fix them, and that's not fun. Okay, here we go. Almost sub 20. 20.626. Nice. Okay, so now we get to see how we open a clock. My VW clock has a broken case and a pin that just falls down. Wouldn't recommend it at all. Yeah, the ones that fall down, it's usually because one of the magnets on the inside came unglued. At least in my experience, that's been the only reason they fall down. And I don't like that. If you're paying $40 for something, it should work. Are in. Almost. One thing that I still have a problem with though is like there being some glue on the inserts. So I gotta use a razor blade to make sure the inserts don't get wrecked. Okay, yeah. See, this is why I glue these on, so they don't ever fall off for other people that I give them to. So that's usually what I do first, is I take everything apart and glue on the pieces that need to be glued on. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Magnetizing. Hey, how's it going? Just getting started. Just opened up this clock, and I'm definitely not gonna have time to do all of the magnetization. Do you have any extra inserts? Yeah, I do. Because I've got like broken Lingao clocks, so I have extra Lingao inserts. I will bring a set of extra inserts next week with me. So these are such nice pliers. I take them, rip out these little metal things. It's not really a rip, it's more of a gentle pull. They come out quite easily. I wonder how easy it is to get them back in. Huh. Pretty easy. Okay. Yeah, I'll check and make sure. I feel like I have more than one extra set. But I'll have to like count how many clocks I have and how many are open and broken and whatever. Because I've got like a pile of inserts. Also, I'd like to try making a custom insert at some point. Just because I think it'd be interesting. So, for these. Every once in a while, some of these will come glued on already, which is like weird. It'll only be like one on a clock. What major cube company would you want to make a clock? Yeah, like here. I think this is, maybe it's just really tight in there. This one was just tight. Major cube company I want to make a clock. I don't know. Hard to say. I have a few that have one good insert. Gotcha. Yeah. I'm wondering if does the description say something about me competing this weekend? Because a couple people have asked me. I don't know if it's just that I have a reputation for competing a lot, or if I left something in there that says I'm competing. I'm competing next weekend in Hendersonville, North Carolina, which is going to be awesome. This weekend I was going to go to Florence, Kentucky, because registrations were allowed at the door, but there's like a bunch of snow. I figured I wouldn't risk crashing and dying before Hendersonville next week. So if there wasn't going to be a competition for like a couple months, I probably would have tried. But yeah, next weekend I am going to Hendersonville, North Carolina. I don't think I told you, Dalton, but Tyler Brodzinski is definitely out. I said before that I was pretty sure he wasn't going to come, but he is for sure not coming now, because he has like class on Monday morning, and I don't want to drive like 7 hours after the comp. I'd be fine driving like 4 or 5, but 7 after the comp is just a bit excessive. And I don't want to leave like super early, because that's lame. I did that for North Dakota because I went with James Hildreth, and that was lame. So I wanted to go to Florence, but I had a basketball game. Gotcha. How far away do you live from Kentucky? You don't have to answer this at all if you would rather not, but I know you're from like that general area, but not, I remember you were at like Coach Pigeon. I was trying to say Chicago, but it was in Chicago, but it was called Coach Pigeon. So I use every last drop of glue I can. So like once they're like hard to squeeze stuff out of through the nozzle, I use it for like this glue where I can do it easier. Northwest Ohio, interesting. I've competed in Ohio one time. It was June 2014. at New Albany, in New Albany, Ohio. What a comp. That was a competition I met Tyler Rudzinski at. Pretty close to Michigan, gotcha. I also didn't go to Michigan at all last year for a competition, which was kind of weird. I went in 2016 a couple of times, and 3 times in 2017. And then 2018 was just like, nah. Got places to be. Oh, jeez. I hope I didn't get glued to my leg. Okay. Not glued, just a little stuck. So, yeah, it was weird not going to Michigan. And then this next weekend, there's a competition in Michigan, which is what, a 6.5 hour drive away? You know, you're thinking, oh, that makes the most sense to go to. It's the closest one to you, but it's got lame events, and it's not in Hendersonville, North Carolina. So, going to Hendersonville, North Carolina instead. What do you average for Megaminx? Right around 56-ish. It's been almost a week since I've practiced, but it's one I want to practice more consistently in 2019, because there's been a lot of times over the years Megaminx I've just not practiced when I didn't have comps with it, and that caused me to get just over a minute for a couple years, and now that I'm comfortably sub 1, I'd like to keep getting faster. So I've been practicing a lot in sub 102. Nice. Alright, so the next thing we glue down is the pin caps. I'm hyped for Hendersonville, yeah. I've always wanted to go to a Dalton Paget comp. I was mentioning this earlier before Dalton was in the chat, but ever since he started organizing, those comps look awesome. Saturday night, Sunday, it's just a good time for a comp, because you get to have oh man, it's just good everything. Good events. He always has good events, because we like pretty much the same events. My New Year's resolution is to only organize with good events and 3x3. Nice. That's just what I was talking about, how you only have good events. I wish I could do that. I wish I could just spam good event comps, but being a candidate delegate, I have to make sure we have a even spread of all the events to give everyone a chance to compete in the events they like. But we're definitely going to have more FMC this year, even though we're not going to have any until March in Wisconsin, which sounds pretty bad now that I say it out loud. So maybe I'll try and get a February comp with. No, it's too late to do February, because yeah. So we'll have to see. March, I'm definitely getting FMC in there somewhere. No more 2x2 Impera. I'll leave those to someone else. Yeah, 2. Oh, okay, I see what happened. I feel like I need to have more 2x2 and Pyraminx in Wisconsin, because we usually... Last year we had 2x2... I want to say 3 times at most. It might have only been 2 though. We're having an all-event competition in Wisconsin. It'll be the first one with all the events in Wisconsin. I agree there are no events, but I'm good at Pyra, so yeah. I can usually podium in Pure Inks at local comps, and like sometimes make it to Nats finals, but it's not something I like hosting just because I'd rather do just about anything. In Minnesota, just signed up for Hendersonville. Pretty excited. Nice. Yeah, I'm very excited. Looks like a great comp. So I just need to organize more since I don't organize comps without big cubes. Yeah. I have a goal to get top 10 world ranking in it. Yeah, that's pretty good. I don't even know what that would be. That's probably like mid-low 2 now for average. I used to be 50th in the world for single. I think that was probably my highest ranking, or lowest ranking, best ranking. For Pure Inks was my 199 when I got it in 2017. And I actually found there's a video of my reaction to it because Jacob Ambrose was competing next to me. I don't record my solves. But I missed taking a pin out. But Jacob Ambrose was competing next to me, and he uploaded the video. It was just because he got a good time as well. But I felt bad because I kind of distracted him. I used to average 2.5, 2.6 before I stopped practicing. Nice. That's pretty fast. I'd be happy with a 2.5 or 2.6 single nowadays. I would have liked to have gotten good results. Now I don't care that I never got good results in Pure Inks. Like when I was practicing, I could have gotten pretty high world ranking times, but I never did. So, oh well. At the time, I would have enjoyed it, like I said, but I'm very glad I didn't stay with it, because we like don't have it at comps, and it's a triangle. There's only 6 pieces. I'm terrible at Pure Inks. I average around 13 seconds. Yeah. So what I'm doing here is I take the caps off of these, and I put a little bit of glue on the inside and a little bit of glue on the rim, and then push in the pins, the caps, and then they don't come off, which is nice because if they did, they'd have a magnet on them, and then that magnet would maybe stick to something, you might lose it. I'm faster at clock than Pura. Nice. That's the way to be. I wish I was faster at clock than Pura. 3.7 average. That'd be pretty good. Pretty good on clock, but oh well. Okay, so next step is starting to glue magnets onto the pins. And because this is such smooth plastic, what I'm gonna do is scratch it up. So use a blade and put some big old scratches in it, and that gives the super glue something to hold on to. Because otherwise, it's just holding on to smooth plastic. Like, oh my gosh, I don't have anything to hold on to. So you put some big scratches in there. But then you also want to clean off all the little excess pieces, because those are going to break off easily, and can also make it so your magnet does not sit flat on the top. If there's like a little pile of plastic there, it gets stuck, it'll be all crooked, and that's not good. So it's pretty good. I think I need to magnetize my clock. It's pretty good. I think you may have tried it at Great Lakes. Yeah, I scrambled a lot of clocks at Great Lakes. I don't remember who was scrambling with me. I mean, I could take some guesses, just based on who was there, but I really don't remember who was scrambling with me. So, yeah. I like magnetic clocks. If you haven't tried a magnetic clock, say try and find one you can try before magnetizing it yourself, because you might not like it. A lot of the fast people don't even use magnetic clocks. I mostly make these for people that aren't fast, because they usually don't have a clock that they like. Most of the time, fast people already have a clock that they enjoy solving on because they're fast. I just explained some really basic stuff, but yeah, gotta fill the silence with something. I wish I had a clock, to be honest. They seem pretty neat. Yeah. Yeah, they're interesting. It was the last WCA event puzzle I ever got. I got it in 2013, like October 2013. So it's usually the event people get last, like the puzzle they get for WCA events last, because they're just like, that's weird. It doesn't look like that much fun. And sometimes they're right. Some people don't find it fun, and other people find it very interesting. I find it very interesting. So. Ooh. I just stabbed myself in the finger now. On accident. That was weird. We'll sell you one for $25. Nice, nice. Dalton, the clock entrepreneur. So, this is probably kind of boring to watch, but it's what magnetizing clocks takes to make sure the quality is good and everything is well made for the people you're doing it for. So then, what I'm going to do is decide what magnets I want to use. I want these to go with this set, so I gotta decide if I'm doing that set now or a set of these. I don't know where. I had them on a 4x4. They're not on that 4x4 anymore. So I guess I'm using these little ones, and this is going to be the strong magnets. Yeah, because I want to do the strong magnets on this one because this one has a crack in it. So I will be doing these. So what I do is I stick them on a cube. And I just hope that the polarity is the same. Yeah, so the polarity is the same as these. So, well, this one might actually be the bad one. No, it's the good one. Okay, so stick them on a cube and get super glue and alright. Last one for the dark blue side. Oh, yeah, my internet kind of crapped out for a bit, and we're back. So that's good. I've just been gluing magnets to my thumb and the bottom of the computer. I got them off both of the things though, so that's probably a good thing. Gonna leave. Oh, never mind. He's back. Cool, cool, cool. Alright, so now that the pins have been glued, we're gonna let those dry. There's a couple things we can do. Can lube the clock and get started on the clear plastic case. So let me wipe some of that off. Alright. I gotta think at how I want to do the clear plastic case because I really want these magnets to not get messed up since they're big and more expensive than the littler ones. So I guess I don't know. I think it's time for a banana break. So. Does anyone have any questions or things they would like to talk about? Topics of conversations? Maybe the space race of the 1960s or the space race of the 2010s? 20-teens? I feel left out. I'm going to magnetize a clock too. Nice. Nice. Banana. Yeah, it is. The Albany Plan of Union. Okay. The Albany Plan of Union was established in 1845. And it's when everyone from all the cities named Albany in the U.S. got together and was like, hey, we have the same names. We should either fight or make a union. After discussing what they were going to do in a locked room for over 3 days, they decided to make a war. Then they realized none of them were very good at war, so they quickly changed that to a plan of union.